Start my set, I'd like to thank Matt and just the work he's done the last couple of years with Bozzfest. If everybody could just give him a hand. And he is Keyoung. In my master's clay, the only imprint that is left upon my flesh is by his hand. All stripes fade, no tears will stain, no man's hand will stay risen to strike my face, for I am two open palms in a field of fists. When my enemies scream surrender, I will smile and not contend, for flesh rots and riches burn, but that is because they are consumed by the fire that fills my chest, that fills my breath. My tongue strikes the air like flint. My words are dried wood, so when a single spark slips from my lips, it sets Babylon ablaze. But the day has not yet come when my reflection and myself are one and the same. So, the skin of my body is the skin of a drum. Every lash across my ribs conducts percussive song. Scarified 16 bars, a note for every flaw, each wound connecting like constellations. For I immerse a major, then father, the sons and daughters, children, unaware of their place amongst the stars. But great love cannot be contained, like wine in jars of clay, cracked and thinning pottery, for we are a cup, trying to contain the ocean, overflowing and drunken from our contents, intoxicating spirit, gushing forth from our fissures and cracks. Our bones may lay brittle, but in death they'll be stacked, blazing funeral pyres scraping against the heavens, an indication of our crowning destination. For we are made of dust and breath, living only starts in death. Our souls are meant for steps, and our heads have no place to rest. For we wave no flags, give allegiance to no empire, for the kingdom that we serve is underfoot, unseen. It's not upon the backs of an ass or a pachyderm, beast of a burdened political system. When asked, "Who are you?" we reply, I am not. I represent the great I am. We speak on behalf of the one with a voice like a trumpet call. Isa, living water, bridegroom, great shepherd, burning bush that was not consumed, teaching us that the greatest victories are indicated by the scraped knees of the servant, the ones who pad their footfalls by walking on hand and knee. In our backs will become bent in the shape of a bell curve, Gaussian functions indicating that we are dictated by our hearts, and we been north and south from there. So awake, O children of Zion. Understand that the lamp that you hold in such high esteem only blinds you. Let's not cling to the safety of steeples and spires, totemism of glass and mortar built to echo till their voices become one sound that they think is our God's speech. So do not sit with bated breath. Stalk straight eyes straight ahead in wooden bastions, for as a great friend once told me, there's only death in our safety, and we serve a God that breathes. I saw the sky pour scarlet lines like etchings on crooked palms, outlining a pair of tattered wings, wearing a tin crown, flapping violently with the grain. It spoke nothing, held thunderclaps in each its hands, and war beneath its hooves. Greeted eagerly by back doors and whispered secrets, it kept glass-eyed hatred in television sets, cupboard drawers, and by street corner signs, where people offered their safety hand over fist, clutching each other's fingers, shaped into shadows that looked like coffins in the dust glass lantern light. I saw the bellies of women filled with flames, stamped out by silver hooves before as much as a cry could escape from their lips. They coughed the smoke from their flattened stomachs, kiss with sooty lips, and give charcoal-filled grins. I watched plowshares bend like tired backs over bronze earth, scattering silver sparks like seed over unyielding ground. It took the sweat from men's brows and drank joyfully the blood of their hands, mapping red thread roots over copper loam. sprouting the muzzles of wolves with mortar mouths and pestle teeth, snatching the speech of angel-tongued children. They spoke in the language of God. And after I surveyed all that had been done, I tried to shut out my anger with a matchstick mouth, but my black cauldron mind boils over with the striking sound of sulfur. Righteous indignation turns to Holy Ghost heaviness that escapes like a free-falling hammer from my chest that makes me cry out, Maranatha! Jehovah Rapha! Ra! Nisi! Shema! Oh, come quickly! For this nation that burns its candle at both ends and arrogantly believes that time runs straight, a bullwhip that they control for their own benefit, not knowing that they are merely a neighboring spoke beside destruction on age's wheel. You lobo-eyed children, ones who carry stones in their left hand, while greeting their friends with their right, lash your splintered bones together in the shape of a crucifix. Make sure to listen to the sound of the marrow scraping against marrow. Let it be a tuning fork whose pitch cracks your ribs. Let your blood flow forth. Make your heart burst like wineskins. For horsemen come, horsemen take. No crimson mark above a door will save your kin. No forefather's face will lead to your escape. For what you hear tearing through your stepping stone thrones of glass and steel is the sound of the wind through a keyhole is death. Undiluted by the snakeskin palms of man. These are surely the last days. These are surely the last days. These are surely the last days. The prophets fill the streets, playing dirges for covered ears and dancing feet. Babylon falls like a millstone into the sea, but to a lamb, even a dragon must bow its knee. I've seen a snake swallow its own tail. Watched a man fill his pockets full of stones while he sank. Witnessed anger swing an axe with such ire that it ended up lodged in his own back. Observed a man with a stomach full of sand count time by eating quart seconds on a beach. Felt skeleton keep fingers unlock wantings in my own flesh that should have never been reached. Fathers cut off their heads with jaundiced tins lies for 10 crowns they can't call their own. Mothers whisper apologies to sleeping children past friends in dead dial tones. And seven is the number of completion. But I pray that 7 does not complete its task in me. 7 sits silently in the corners of my remorse. Discourse brings no course of action for divorce from these cardinal sins that blind cardinal directions given by the ghost that lives in me. I broke the lamp that held the flame at my feet. I navigate the broken shards around me. My hands know nothing of what my eyes do, and my feet keep secrets from my mind. So each of my limbs keeps heirs, which makes me err on the side of caution. But caution only. Bound, blood cord bonds tightly around my heart. 4 chambers, pump patterns that spell out apologies. They're almost heard through my apathy. So I stand, prodigal, single upright speck amidst the voluntary prone.
Minutes.
Talk for a second then. Thanks for sticking around. This next one's pretty dear to my heart. It's about the last year, so. I was born a canvas-covered picture frame. My teacher sanded down my edges, not knowing it would mean I could never be cornered. So the paint always spilled off my sides, making sporadic, sputtering acrylic spit stains when I opened my mouth for speech. I never knew to protect my heart, so I let my colors bleed, and most of my childhood was spent playing near cemeteries and tried my best to avoid talking with strangers. My pockets filled with quarters and always in hopes of buying my friends' thoughts. My teenage years were consumed by death metal records in my friend's car and getting punched by men 5 years older than me in garages filled with kids that wore shirts that didn't fit correctly. Learning how verses not only get written on a page, also become etched on your heart. But I'm older now. I planted a flower bed in my chest and waited for the rain. But it beat hard enough to wash the gullies out, and the soil ran down my legs. My bare feet darkened and stained. The roots lay bare inside my chest, the fire napping inside my conscience, laughing softly as each drop of rain kissed its red flecked skin. My callous vellum hands lay in wait, unwritten by my sides, and my eyes stand perched like peering vultures from the caverns of my mind, because I've been whittling guilt from black cloud promises and trying my best to hammer out silver linings with a caution-tipped fist. Swollen blue reminders of what happens when hesitation rears its head and fear wins. I'm tired of demons waking me weekly before my alarm rings. I have enough ghost hunts I need to learn to stop chasing while laying in a borrowed bed. So I put on a brave face that I chisel with shaky hands, because I've been taking a lot of disappointment lately. I'm learning truth in the weight of my friend's hands on my shoulders, when the arch of my back bridges sorrow and joy with each shallow breath I take. My heart cries anarchy, because I've seen greed trap young women in window cages for men that will pay more when the curtains close. I never knew. I can only imagine their pain as I bike by them every day on my way to work. But I still can't help thinking that it's all my fault. Why didn't I smash the windows, set the captives free? Why didn't I do what had been done for me? The canals where the girls worked were filled with swans that floated among the garbage, and the neon signs of sex shows made the birds look like phosphor-winged demons or broken angels. But the crowds of men looking for an hourglass figure to hide their loneliness, and the women clutching cameras and overstuffed purses barely noticed him, while my friend Jimmy froze on the streets at night, laying by the bypass like broken teeth, too fractured to be set back in their rightful place. They walked by death while my friend Mary plucked the violin strings I gave her in November. Her whispered words nodding in agreement to the wolves that sat in her head, feasting on her heart. And these things make me no longer afraid to travel roads without markers or take walks after dark. Because I see now that the eyes are the color spectrum of the soul, and so many people have pupils that are shades of gray. The colors never change, no matter how colorful their speech. Which has made me learn to fashion my words as ropes and set my thoughts firm like boards, to build bridges between cynicism and desires for scarred hearts. I wish my hands were set as hot brands, to be lined with the stories of the weaker than, that they would lick hungrily for unwitting palms to declare that they have value. So every handshake would mean something. I just want this all to mean something. Because my throat grows tired of coughing with sawdust lungs, which makes my chest rattle lonely song with sinew heartstrings fickle notes, making my voice raise octaves higher than it's supposed to go, and it all keeps getting caught in my throat. But my father tells me that he has an easy yoke, that it's good, that it's grace. And let me bend but never break. And I keep pouring myself out like a cistern until my bottom is straight, and I keep waiting to be filled. I keep waiting to be filled. But silence never fills the cracks. And I cannot find what I've always lacked. So I stand knocking on my God's door. I know he'll answer. So one more. It's more than enough time.
You're going.
Waiting for this finger. Here's the last one. It's called To My Future Kids. Oh yeah, once again, if you guys walked in, my name's Keyoung. Don't wipe your hands on our pets. That's what napkins are for. And no, chocolate milk does not come from brown cows. Spaghetti sauce is not the same as water because your goldfish cannot survive without oxygen when boiling liquids made out of tomatoes. Pulling the emergency brake in my car while the vehicle is in motion isn't okay. The hole at the bottom of our toilet is not for exploring. Your arm will become stuck if you explore too far. The 911 operators never find your late night conversations as funny as you do. If the teacher ever calls home and couples your name with the words explosion or fire hazard in the same sentence, I'll always side with them. Beer was made for drinking, not chugging. They give it a flavor for a reason. And being a teenager does not give you a license for stupidity or the right to drive, but you do have the right to sing out loud. Singing is for the tenured and the musically impaired. The ones that think that treble cleft is something fixed with plastic surgery. When you open your mouth, you are Sam Cooke in his prime, Marvin Gaye and Al Green with 10 times the charm, and don't let anyone tell you differently, because songs may end past the lips, but they start somewhere between the shoulders and hips. And all souls are equal. Dancing is not just for school functions. And no, it's not the motion that people make in music videos. They're trying to make their zippers kiss one another. I give you permission to stake every walking surface as your own personal dance floor, as if you were a footloose Christopher Columbus and the only way to discover the Americas was to do the electric slide. You're going to discover that conversations are best at 4 a.m. The heavier the eyelids, the sincerer the words. Those are the talks that you will remember. It's okay not to know the answer. Silence is not awkward. it's shared. So share it more often than not. And labels are for soup cans. And when you were created, you weren't mass-produced. Just ask your mom. Don't believe me. Pornography is only two people getting paid. Authentic romance does not begin when the background music starts. Son, your sweetheart is not a princess. She is a temple, and your body a burnt sacrifice. Daughter, your lover is not a knight. He is a compass, and you a map. So, don't treat each other like glass with delicate hands. Because like dough, we need to be punched and kneaded to know our weight and worth. Remember that sincerity may not always gain you friends, but keep heaviness from your heart. Love the world. Or love God. We cannot do both. Just don't grow up too fast. Don't be afraid to run so fast that both your feet leave the ground. Hopefully the same time that you stop learning is the same time that you stop breathing, because every kid is born with color vision, but adults have chosen to see the world in black and white. So when someone offers you a pair of 3D glasses, take them. Take them. Like your life depends on it, because it does. The adult world is full of numbers that'll make your head spin, and wallets and bank accounts that are filled with abstracts. They'll tell you, you are what you make. You are what you have. You are what people remember you to be. But realize this, if nothing else, that you have a God and Father that says, I always was. I always am. And your empty palms, an open heart, they're enough for me. Thanks. Just a reminder, all the bands, including myself, have merchandise, and a lot of desperate broke people. So if you're actually shelling out money to any of them, you are helping a lot of people that have no money.